This year, we're hoping that we will have raised enough money to build our first orphanage. This all started by random chance through Trinity Kids. They were raising money to feed orphans through rice bowls, and the church stood behind them in a fantastic fashion. That led to Shelley Knoll and I going on a mission trip to India to visit these orphanages that we were funding. When we got there, we found that some of the orphanages were barely able to afford rent. Though Rice Bowls was taking care of 100% of their food budget, Rice Bowls was limited in their charter to only care for the nutrition of all these children. So we came home and it broke my heart as I hugged my own children, thinking that the children back there were going to be sent back into poverty, starvation, forced labor, child trafficking, the worst of scenarios. I mean, once you've held their hands, you've heard their laughter, played their games, prayed with them, and seen the purest devotion to Christ, they're no longer just statistics. So we decided to start the Foundation for Change. This is a nonprofit that would come alongside Rice Bowls and help pay for the ancillary things that they were unable to handle. The funny part is that the only money that we could find to contribute was actually barely enough to get the paperwork started. I kept thinking, how are we going to ever be able to afford to do anything good if we can't even afford to start the mission? But then I was having coffee with Glenn Himes. He was thrilled that we were going to try to do something to help support these orphanages and pay their rent. But he said that one key thing. He said, that's great, but how are you going to make it permanent? Well, that thought festered. And if after years of working towards our goal, we're hoping that this year will be the year that we can officially build our first orphanage. This will be a permanent structure that 25 kids will be able to call home. Nobody can cancel a lease. Nobody can tell them that they're unwanted. Nobody can shut down the doors just because they didn't fit a profile. And when they're long gone and bringing the gospel to their own families, those beds will still be there for the next generation. You know, it's funny, I was asked to talk about how my faith has influenced this work. But in all honesty, our work has been what has influenced my faith. It has deepened the understanding that with God, all things are possible. I mean, this was a program that was influenced by children. It was encouraged by a generation that lived long before me. And it's being supported today through the generation of my peers. To be honest with you, I don't know what it means to leave a legacy. But I'm learning through the help of Christ that we can be a conduit for others to leave their legacy. And Lord willing, my children will see this and they'll learn to steward their passions for the betterment of those to follow.